headlines.
Hey, what's going on there, everybody? We're going to talk, Kay, about your favorite subject, and it's not bacon. We're talking Chicago Bears quarterbacks. As we know, at least we should know, that Jim McMahon and Mitchell Trubisky are the only Pro Bowl quarterbacks in the Super Bowl era. Now, if you are a Bears fan like Kay and our guy Kyle, who's not here, you are hoping that Justin Fields will be the third Bears quarterback on that list. And we saw Fields really impressive at Bears rookie minicamp over the weekend, but it will take a lot more than just a couple of days to supplant Andy Dalton as the starter. Head coach Matt Nagy reiterating that Dalton is still the QB1 heading into training camp, for now,
Andy is the starter. Andy's going to get the 1 reps. And what we're telling Justin and Nick to do is make sure that they're doing everything they can to try to be that guy. And that's that competition part. And I know that for everybody, the biggest question is when is that going to happen? When you go up to draft a quarterback like Justin, everyone's very excited and they want to know when. And trust me, we all understand that. But we need to make sure that whatever that plan is that we put together, that it's the best thing for the Chicago Bears.
Meanwhile, Ryan Kerrigan saying goodbye to Washington on Thursday and hello to Philadelphia. The pass rusher joining the Eagles on a 1-year deal after a decade in Washington, where he is still the franchise leader in sacks with 95.5 sacks. And the Broncos hiring former Vikings scouting executive Kelly Klein as executive director of football operations and special advisor to the general manager. Klein is now the highest ranking woman in football operations at an NFL club. Additionally, she's believed to be the highest ranking female scouting executive in league history as well. So congratulations to her and the Broncos. And we've talked about this numerous times, that we hope that this becomes the rule, if you will, and not the exception. We're certainly celebrating this. This is a monumental accomplishment in the league, and we hope to see more and more of it in the future.
Her story is very cool. Thank you so much, Will, for bringing that to our attention. So she spent 10 years with the Vikings. She's been on the ground grinding. I think she started in PR in 2012, working her way up the ranks. It's incredible in the Midwest, setting up pre-draft visits and really just grinding away. And she worked with Peyton, obviously the first-time GM, there with the Broncos. And to me, Jane, it says it all, the fact that this guy, Peyton, who's been in the business for 24 years, finally gets his first shot as a GM. And one of his first staff decisions, a really important one, is him saying, I need her here with me. I think it says a lot about trust and confidence he has in her. And I wish her and hat tip her all the best. I'm excited.
And she's got an excellent reputation with a lot of scouts. I asked one senior scout his thoughts on her, and he said, she's really cool. She's got a great reputation amongst us. In fact, she's one of the ones that comes out with us, drinks beer and talks ball. And look, a lot of people ask me all the time, Kate, how hard is it to be a woman in sports? And I always say it's not. When you're around really great people, I think you can attest to this. Once you've done the work and you sort of earn the respect of your colleagues, we're so lucky to have a lot of these guys that sort of welcomed us into what is sort of the boys club. But I think when I look at Combine and I look at the press conference rooms, they're so different from when I started out in this business, 18 years ago. I just look forward to the day that we're not talking about it being the first woman ever. I think sometimes it unfortunately puts this target on your back, and people that don't know what your resume is or know what your credentials are, they immediately write it off and dismiss it as, oh, well, you got the job. Because I certainly dealt with that when I had my own sports talk show here in Dallas. And so sometimes I think that can be unfortunate, but I really appreciate the fact that when I reached out to all of these scouts, a lot of them said she's got a really, really impressive resume. So maybe let's talk more about the impressive resume and less about her being a woman. That's just my 2 cents.
Good for you guys. And I love that take from both of you. And Kay, you hit it with the PR intern. So the story I got is she walks into Jeff Anderson, who works in public relations for the Vikings office, and basically says, I'll do anything. I want to be, I'm right out of college. I drove here from Wisconsin where I lived. He grew up in Sheboygan. Said, I'll do any job you can give me. I'll do it. And they said, okay, well, how about you're a seasonal intern, which means you work for a couple weeks during the off season. She does that job. She does it well. They bring her on for a year. In the PR department, department. And then from there, she shifts over to scouting and then makes the move over. 10 years later, now she's being hired as really George Payton's right arm. And I love that story too. We have all these amazing stories of GMs. And I often point to Brandon Beane's story, who worked in PR for the Carolina Panthers for many years before getting onto the personnel side. And for Kelly to do the same thing, and for those doors not to close for reasons that maybe 20 years ago they would have, I think we're showing some progress here. So kudos not only to George Payton for the hire, that's cool, but for Kelly for the journey, for the grind. We're talking that she got there in 2012 in Minnesota and said, I'll do anything to just have a spot in the NFL, and then put in 10 years of work before finally getting this awesome position. So I always respect the grind, and she grinded for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Shregs. Good job laying out the grind. And you know what? I mean, just chalk it up as another reason why I love football. Because it doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter what your race is. It doesn't matter what your sex is. Can you help a team win? That's what football is all about. Can you help us? And if you can, if you bring something to the table and you're willing to work for it, which as Shreg just laid out for you, as she showed up with, with her box of ramen noodles in the back of her car saying, I'll do anything. That to me is the most impressive thing. And that is exactly what people in this country need to see. Somebody who's willing to work for it, and look at how far she has come. And guess what? She's not done. When you look at what she did as the pro personnel, the college scout, she's laying the groundwork to become a general manager. I'm sure that's her next goal, and I'm not going to tell her she can't get there. She certainly has proven everybody wrong along the way, and she has earned every step of it. So congratulations, Kelly. Congratulations to the Broncos, and I'm sure she's not done.
Kelly Klein, Executive Director of Football Ops and Special Advisor. The